Yeah, it is a VTuber, not a VR chat avatar. And this is unfinished model actually, but that doesn't matter right now. Okay. Let's do this. The clock is half past, so it is showtime. Also, the one recording this panel can start recording now. We'll start once I have the confirmation. Okay, so Tulpas and Daemons for the better and worse by the Press Collective. There are some triggers in this, nothing too major, just mentions of schizophrenia and mention of serpents, and of course my strong accent. Which I am unable to fix, unfortunately. But anyway. Who is speaking and why? I am Scythe and I am a he they, and I'm here to host this panel that was essentially a battle between the two thought forms. But that's a joke because I'm here to tell you about them, not actually putting them two against one another. Or well, kind of. But I am a Tulpamancer and Damien, and I have two Tulpas, Keegan and Maribel, and three Daemons, Exeth, Orchid and Futa. The light pink haired is Keegan, and the darker is Maribel. And why you should listen to me? Well, I am both a Tulpamancer and a Damien. I had 8 Tulpas before my concentration skills took a nosedive to ADHD doing its thing, along with depression. Right now I have 2 Tulpas in the development, plus a Daemon whom I interact in day-to-day basis. Or well, 3 nowadays. 2 just popped up. And the big crews which I made their avatars with are noted down as well if you want to check those out. And my Daemons are Exeth, Orchid and Futa. However, I have no pictures of them due Exeth and Orchid being snakes, and that can be triggering. And only pictures that look closely like Futa are AI generated. But anyway, checking the calendar, it's been 80 days since Exeth's coming in existence, or CE Day. CAE Day. So basically, his birthday. If you wish, say happy birthday or happy CEA Day in the chat and embarrass him. And I also make YouTube videos, and I hopefully have an episode or 2 out. Links will be sent in the chat. I didn't finish up any episodes beforehand, I had one recorded, but anyway. That's enough babbling about me, let's go to topic list. So our topic list will be the basics of demons and demonism, the basics of tulpas and tulpamancy, roots and / origins of both, how to get either of these companions, positives and negatives, and actual experiences of living with them. So let's begin. What are demons? Demons can be described with many names, such as subconscious guardians, other half of the inner dialogue, and helpful beings who lives in your mind, and so on. They can help with a bunch of things, like finding hidden aspects within yourself, a way to reflect back on your thoughts, and it offers a quote-unquote framework that encourages both introspection in a way that's both fun and supportive to many. My own experience with demonism is that of a helpful quote-unquote third wheel in my and my partner's relationship. Cryo, my partner, often describes Exeth as the truth teller when Scythe has hard time speaking his mind. There's also 5 main forms that Daemon can take, those being analytic, symbolic, comfort, personal, and aspirational. These 5 forms have different meanings and attributes. Analytic works on analyzing the animal's behavior compared to your behavior. It's the form that your daemon takes. Symbolic is pretty much the same, but in a different way. Analytic focuses on the behavioral patterns, where symbolic is about animal symbolism, like owls are wise and black cats are unlucky, for very surface level explanation. Comfort is from the daemon. Comfort is a form the daemon takes purely to comfort their daemon. Personal form is when the form has a personal meaning to either daemon or daemon, like Exeth and Orchid's serpent forms for me. Aspirational form is whatever the daemon aspires to be, like loyalty of a dog or the courage of a lion. For us, Exeth has many forms. One of them is a lavender corn snake, which is also the personal form. We haven't figured out anything but the personal and comfort forms, however. Oh damn, I forgot there was a slide for this. Oh damn. Sorry about that. But anyway, there's a bit more information about Exeth, Orchid, and Fuda. Because, well, they have many forms, but those are the main ones. But yeah, let's move on. And tulpas are the older concept. It's basically an autonomous consciousness existing from within their creator's mind. Tulpamancy itself is creating yourself a companion of some sort, be it a friend or a mentor, or anything alike. Besides, the practice of creating another person has been an occult concept since the dawn of time, seen in practices like servitors of chaos magic. I have had tulpas in the past help me with my schizophrenic attacks, returning me back to reality, and right now I am experimenting on a tulpa that helps with trauma flashbacks. Some people warn others against tulpamancy if you have any mental disorders or illnesses that affect your sense of reality or cause dissociative states, such as DID or schizophrenia. In the meantime, I understand the warnings, but when there's an experience, there's knowledge of that experience. And for me, my hallucinations eased up instantly when I turned to tulpamancy. There has been a couple of studies done on tulpamancy, the most known of which is probably Samuel Vassier's study. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. There's also the concept of accidental tulpas. And on that note, there are 4 kinds of accidental ones. Now keep in mind, this is from a post I found from Reddit, and it's over 10 years old, so bear with me. So, the class A is a character or concept you might start developing into tulpa without realizing. The character might be something you created for your story or roleplay. But you keep talking and thinking about them. Class B is a subconscious tulpa, which might honestly just be read as a daemon, but that's another system mate of yours. Or then that's another system mate of yours. Class C, the tulpa started not as a tulpa. It's just a one thought of you mistake as a tulpa, and then all of a sudden you have a sentient tulpa after building them. And the class D, the train of thought. A thought stuck between you and your existing tulpa that might snowball from there. Let's go to origins. So, the name tulpa was coined by Alexander David Neal in the book called Magic and Mystery of Tibet from the year 1932. However, even though tulpamancy has its roots in Tibet, the practice nowadays is very different. In Tibetan myths, there isn't even the word tulpa mentioned. But there is a similar concept. It's not to create a friend, however. It's something more to do with seeking guidance from a already past spiritual leader. It's interesting, but that's a closed practice and I won't go deeper into that one. Daemons are not the same as demons, even though the spelling is close. Daemons originate from trilogy of books made in the TV series known as His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. Something in that concept whispered to the fandom, it's possible in the real life. And thus, we have the daemons of the now. Though they work differently from how they work in the books, the concept of the animal companion in one's mind turned from a concept from book to reality. Getting the companion. Tulpa is made with consistent focusing and talking to them, also known as forcing and narrating. The best advice for this I have read is check out all the guides, throw them in the trash, and do what resonates with you. Be it detailed, like writing down personality, making a magic symbol, drawing them, or just letting them make themselves with you. Just force them, narrate, and you two will essentially work together. Narrating means you just tell your tulpa what you are doing, and forcing is when you, interact with them, be it active or passive. Demons, on the other hand, are not made. They are found from within your mind. There are different ways of finding one, but sometimes, if you don't know you have headmates, you might be in for a shock. One friend of ours actually found out they are a system due to our child tulpa asking them to ask from within if there was anyone. It was rather embarrassing for us, but luckily they hold no ill will towards us. So be cautious as a singlet if you try to ask and listen method. You might end up finding something you aren't prepared for. There are some more ways as well, such as name and just visualizing their form and talk to them, just visualize and talk and listen for an answer. It's really not that complicated. For myself, when I started to explore demonism, I didn't have any guidance on how to do it. So I just got into a shower argument with myself, and that probably ended up Exet being angry at me for the first few months. So let's go to the positives of them. So instead of answering this short and sweet, I asked the community for input. I will tell you here a couple of the answers that I got that really resonated and or didn't, because those are important too. These won't be differentiated due to most of the feedback on my last panel, but anyway. When conducting a small-scale survey, I had like 24 answers as of writing the script. The most frequent theme of having companionship and or emotional support, which can be noticed in pretty much every answer. Now, important to notice that most of the answers I got were about tulpamancy. Daemonism wasn't the most prominent in the answers. The most often detailed the essence of connection, understanding, and of course, emotional support. These being act as confidants of offering support and friend in the inner world. There was also some aspects of personal growth. There was also aspects of personal growth and self-discovery. Some of the answers detail the help of exploring their thoughts, feelings, and identities, self-reflection, and ability to contribute to personal growth. The elephant in the room, however, was the isolation and loneliness. Noticeably, the lack thereof. Many felt the reduction in feelings of isolation and loneliness, which could be attributed to their thought forms. They provide a consistent companion, even without physical contact. In some answers, there was the theme of safe space and exploration and experimentation, where peeps, with the help of their headmates, explore ideas or even just relax without judgment. The inner world was their own safe space. Then there was the practical assistance and cognitive support side of things, where the peeps noted that their daemons and tulpas helped with things like reminding them of what they had forgotten, or assisting with schoolwork, to even helping out navigating social situation. Also noting that tulpa provides a profound sense of connection, support, there were quite a few answers of peeps struggling with social anxiety. One example being unable to go to cinema alone, which to them was terrifying. But their thought-form companion didn't try to straight up fix the anxiety or tell them they shouldn't be afraid, but instead encouraged the experience and created a safe space of enjoyment, instead of pointing out how peeps are too busy thinking about themselves, and they even made funny backstories for other people. They had a good afternoon after going to the cinema, which wasn't the result of conquering a fear, but instead being in a space free of self-criticism and they can't just fix you. They can create a safe and accepting environment where the peeps can relax and enjoy without fear of judgment. Here is again the most seen positives: the sense of connection and understanding, emotional support, personal growth and self-discovery, and practical assistance and cognitive support. For me personally, the cinema story It stuck with me because I have felt the same with my demons when they encourage me to go chat with people or even start the chats themselves. Okay. The other side of the coin. When there's something positive, there's always the other side of the coin, the negative. So, let's talk about it. The key difference found from the positives were intrusive thoughts and internal conflict, such as the potential for thought form to be demanding or create pressure when the peep is overwhelmed. But I also did ask for negatives separately. There was the quote-unquote brain twitching, as peeps put it, as well as headaches. But the most significant one was relationship conflicts. Several mentioned issues with their thought forms and pre-existing relationships, both with partners and themselves, which include from general awkwardness or weirdness when someone else met the invisible, all the way to breakups. There was also difficulty of getting everyone, visible and invisible, to coexist. Internal conflict was seen in triggering intrusive thoughts and or the feelings. And it was challenging to adjust to life with Tulpa and its effects on identity. Some did mention boundary issues as well, where the difficulty establishing clear boundaries was clear. The fear of being seen as crazy or unstable was also seen in many answers, along with the fear of judgment from outside. There was also some mentions of the community not being too positive, at least in Tulpaman's side, due being strict, easily judged, and lacking support. Imposter syndrome is strong, with strong current of feeling there is just one correct way of practicing tulpamancy, which is not true. And the secrecy surrounding it all also takes a toll on the peeps. There was also a case where Tulpa straight up fueled their man's arachnophobia by making them touch a spider, though it ended well and helped out in the long run. There were two cases of Tulpa going a bit too far in boundaries they shouldn't touch. Though as a case of Tulpa trying to take over. Yes, there's the horror movie Tulpa peeps have been waiting for. Our own story, however, is that we had a former friend who hated the thought of tulpas. And she didn't, straight up allow us to have a tulpa before we eventually parted ways. And after I got myself a tulpa, everything was just easier. I could breathe, I went more outside, and spent more time in nature in general. It felt good. And also my hallucinations disappeared, which was also a win. There are also some lessons to be learned from these answers. There's the increased self-awareness and boundary setting, where the tulpamancer was forced to examine deeply what they are comfortable with and who had their back. Then there's the enhanced communication skills, where they were kind of forced to be more proactive and assertive, with communication needing the skill of articulation. Needing the skill of articulating their needs and expectations. Great appreciation for supportive tulpas, whereas the moments of genuine support are priceless, and also the ability to troubleshoot problems. Lessons to be learned. The key takeaway from this whole thing is probably one of these. The lessons to learn. You need increased self-awareness and ability to set boundaries in order to have a or you can have a good experience with anyone without like setting firm boundaries, but always just like with friends, because they are friends as well, but set boundaries with people, okay? And what's it really like? Tulpas and Daemons are not passive companions. They have their own agendas and capabilities. Some can be unpredictable or challenging, so treating them only as supportive friends can be a problem. They are their own people, like you and me. Shared boundaries, collaboration, and setting boundaries are the cornerstones of every relationship. You need to be able to navigate challenges and recognize that they will arrive as they will in relationship with your mother, best friend, or sibling. Manage your relationships with your friends. Set down clear, defined boundaries. Those are often for any relationship. Communication is proactive, not reactive. Don't wait for problems, avoid them well ahead with discussions of anxiety, concerns, and outcomes you desire. Be prepared for potential issues. Tulpamancy and daemonism aren't simple and straightforward practices or relationships, but a complex dynamic that demands attention, learning skills, and willingness to adapt. The background hum. Now I will tell you some background hum of the Tulpamancy experience before the Q&A section. There's the mundane routine of figuring out work and school problems and discussing things like chores, being present with your thought forms, and comfort and familiarity of experiences during ordinary activities. There's the subtle quirks like talking and thinking in different manners, self-awareness and stability. These are minor observations that paint a vivid picture of Tulpaman's experience. It's not always dramatic, and it's often quiet, comfortable rhythm of shared activity, mutual support, routines, and careful cultivation of dynamic. So, when you combine the positive, neutral, and negative, you see a nuanced and compelling picture of complex and layered painting that is much wider than having a friend in your head. The shared consciousness requires an immense amount of self-awareness, reflecting aspects of your own personality, anxieties, and insecurities. Deeply personal and vulnerable connection where you share mind is a never-ending learning curve. In a sense, having a thought form is like embarking on a journey into the depths of your mind with a friend who has also access there. It's not just about having a friend. It's a dynamic, complex and personal. It's a relationship that's completely up to you to how you wish to do it. So, let's go to Q&A. And there's a little quote from me. It's not just about having a friend. It's a dynamic, complex, and personal relationship that's completely up to you to how you wish to do it. Okay. Send some questions if you have any. I'm checking out the chat in the meantime. I want to be respectful when asking this. I don't assume anything about anyone here. I had experience bad with Tulpas and from others. Wanted to ask for any guidance anyone can give. Content warning manipulation. Has there been instances of people creating Tulpas in order to get something out of someone else? Because I feel this exact thing happened to me, and I want to know if it's disrespectful of me to ask or otherwise. It's not disrespectful to ask. You are allowed to question things, first of all. But there has been instances of people creating tulpas in different and having different motives. But I don't know about that. Clearside, if you wanna, I can give more information if you wish to. What was I about to say? ADHD. But yeah, if you wanna open that up a bit more, I can definitely try to help you out in DMs or in here. Now, what is the difference between Tulpas and Daemons? The main difference is that the Tulpas are created and Daemons are found from within. Like you create a Tulpa, but you find a Daemon. Accidental Tulpas often happen due to seeking companionship and combating loneliness, but what about when actual code meets space companions form the tulpa fades? Do you have recommended that one that fading happened to bring your I have personally I believe that you just don't kill off a tulpa. It's always there waiting for you to reactivate it. Okay, Clearsight, I will check your DMs later. Also, you mentioned it's hard for you to do tulpas. Do you have any recommendations to help keep solid train of? You definitely don't need to be in a certain mindset to do like or practice tulpamancy or demonism. I personally just don't have time that much anymore. But I try to get in to work with my tulpas more and more. And I'm in daily contact with Exeth and Orchid. Fuda not so much. He just hangs around. But for advice and recommendation is that just take like 5 minutes of your day. Let's say you're making breakfast and you just talk with your tulpa in the meantime. You just mix and match tasks and see what happens. Basically. Yeah, it gets easier with practice. Yeah, that's definitely true. Do you have any tips on distinguishing between your tulpa's authentic voice and your imposition voice? Is the difference even meaningful? Personally, for me, my tulpas don't speak like we do. They speak, or they quote unquote speak, in tulpish. That is basically just raw emotions or images or pictures that they send to your mind. For example, my one of my earlier tulpas did communicate a lot with pictures. Like he used to give me a picture of a beach, and then I would have to guess if he wanted to go swimming or he wanted to go to the beach for a picnic or something. So I don't think it's meaningful to see if your tulpa has an authentic voice or if it's your imposition on their voice. Just give them time to evolve, I'd say, because they will do that and they will become more self-efficient with that. It's hard being out of practice. This was never hard before. It's not gone forever. If it feels that way, that it's gone forever, you just gotta make the, and I love this quote, the magical, the mundane. Even though it's not really magic, but anyway. You just gotta keep trying. Do your best. I believe in you, Calixa. I believe in you. What's the difference between daemons and spirit guides? Ooh, that's a good one. So, the basic one is that spirit guides are outside your body. And daemons are in your mind. Though that can also be different between practices, but that's usually how it goes. Daemons are just your subconscious mind talking back to you. Your inner dialogue's other half. If that makes any sense. I'm just now seeing the happy Sia Day messages in the chat, and Exeth is very embarrassed. Okay, that's good that it makes sense. What's the best way to communicate with daemons or tulpas? Do you ever just pick them out loud or just in your head? I personally have 3 ways of communicating with my peeps. One is through an app called Antar. That's a system communication application where you just type out what you want to say, and then you just let your other other being or alter or headmate or whatever just talk back to you through that text. That takes some practice, however, but yeah, I do also talk to them out loud and in my head. Do you also have spirit guides besides the Daemons and Tulpas? I actually don't have spirit guides. I have been meaning to get to working with a spirit guide, but that just I haven't had any time to find the time for spirit guides. How did you first learn about demonism or tulpamancy? I learned about tulpamancy when I was like 15 or 14, when it was popping off the first time. And that's also the first time I tried creating a tulpa. I was in upper middle school, I think, like 7th grade or something. For context, in Finland we have 9 grades, high school or vocational, and on and on. So I was in almost graduating primary school, or what's it called? Anyway, the first 9 grades. And that's when I learned about tulpamancy. I can't remember which way I learned it first about, but I remember that it wasn't successful. I was too focused on the outlook of the tulpa that I didn't actually do the things that I needed to do, like forcing and narrating. I just completely focused on the outlook and visualizing it. And Daemonism, I actually heard about that much more recently. I think it was like a week or 2 before I found out Exeth. And it just sounded cool, and I went for it. I'm reading the chat right now, and yeah, there is also a way of creating tulpas via immersive daydreaming. That's also a possibility, but I'm not sure if that's a paramancy then, I think was the correct one. Probably, but it's close enough. Oh, there's more questions. Sorry. What's the difference between a tulpa and a soul bond? This is a good one because I'm not actually that versed in soul bonding. Personally, I know some of it, but I think like when soul bond is like a connection you have with a character or something, correct me if I'm wrong. And tulpa is something that is usually not a fictive. Or something. It's usually created for Tulpa is created for companionship, yes, but usually not. And I don't think like soul bonds are created. I don't know this one well. I think there's some more peeps that can help with that question better than I can. Mm. Oh yeah, thanks Anders for explaining the soul bonds. Yeah, soul bonds are not created. They are existing linked to a character.